The veil is thin here, now in the waning of the year. Shorter days bring darkness, cold, our senses tuned to mystery. What lives in the dark that we have not seen lately? What lives in the cold when it feels as though nothing can live? I'll tell you a secret of secrets. Hush. There is only life. As green recedes, still there is life. As breath recedes, still there is life. As snow buries everything, life abides. Spirit abides, soul abides. Here in this moment, when the veil is thin, awareness prickles on the skin, a taste of smoke, of sweetness, of otherness integrated. We are here and not here at once.
Good morning. It is so good to be with you this morning. My name is Reverend Christopher Rowe, and in this season at Fountain Street Church, I have the privilege and responsibility of serving as this church's acting senior minister. And on behalf of everyone who calls this their home, and on behalf of everyone who has ever called this their home, including the ancestors who stewarded this ministry for us, welcome to worship this morning. It is a privilege to share this space with you. This morning we are lifting up a multitude of ancestors, a cloud of witness, as some traditions call it, loved ones, those we loved and those who loved us first. And it is good to do this work in community. Throughout this service, you can follow along in the program, and you will see in there a few liturgies with some responsive elements to them, as well as the titles of the music brought to us by the Threshold Choir. Whenever we have a reprise, you will be invited to sing along using those simple canticle-like words. So I invite you to do that. It is good to be in worship with you this morning. It is good to hold space in a time when I know it can be stressful beyond these walls. But for this hour, you have nowhere but here to be right now. And it is an honor to be here with you. Welcome to this service of remembrance.
The time has come in our world to die away, to die back, to die off. It is the dying time, the time when the visible signs of life drop away, the leaves, the flowers, the green grass. It is the time when many animal friends disappear from view, either by finding a more hospitable climate or by burying themselves somewhere beneath the snow. It is the time when we too go inward, when we dress ourselves for protection and comfort. And often, we too wish we could bury ourselves through the very dark days. Perhaps instead, this coming season, we may take comfort and give comfort by holding another's hand or by embracing someone else who finds the darkness daunting. Perhaps instead of closing in, we might open our doors to a few or many who need a warm space in which to belong. Let the leaves fall. Let the snow come. Let the earth sleep. And let us, in our quiet, hopeful way, weather the dormant time in love's embrace.
I invite you to continue along with the responsive litany. Let this be our collective prayer of love for those who we have lost. You may enjoy this prayer by reading the bolded parts. They once dwelled among us, the people of memory. They touch our lives time and again through their presence and through their absence. As the earth turns and the leaves fall, we reach back to renew the bonds between us. We reach back in gratitude and in understanding without our time together, the pain and the joy. Without fear, with thanksgiving, and with hope for all that awaits.
There is birth in the morning of the year, The world celebrates new life, rejoicing in recognition of eternity reborn, and the child experiences an ever-expanding world. First, the faces of family, their smiles and their encouraging words are the world. There is growth with every new face and voice, with every new touch and smell and taste. Ah, the dog's chew toy. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. Learning. When the doors to the house are opened, experiences pour in, and we pour ourselves out into them. School, church, public streets, camping trips, riding a bike, falling, getting back up, growing, learning, changing, and falling in love, and falling out of love, and learning what love really is. The hurts and the ecstasies, friendships like loves, rising and falling, growing and receding, all the experiences, all the new ideas, and creativity, and learning to think and to find information. Our child world grows and grows, expands and expands with delight, with movement and color. Then adulthood varies widely. Some of our worlds grow a little smaller with marriage and family, the necessity to nurture a small part of the world with one's energy and heart. Some worlds continue to expand with travel and adventure and new friends, some that accompany marriage and family. Until, as fall approaches, we, no longer children or even young adults, see our world begin to contract. The broad, full spectrum of friends and acquaintances diminishes as one or another, and then another, passes from view. It's September and parents are gone. Perhaps a sibling or a close friend no longer shares our lives. October, it becomes more difficult to do expected things. Activities once full of joy become laborious, and the memory of how much fun they once were makes them more daunting. Work is exhausting. Retirement can be limiting. Yet there are still adventures to be had, different kinds of adventures, at a slower pace and with fewer people involved. November, darkness increases. Life demands simplicity. People fade from our lives, some passing beyond life itself, some simply unable to leave their homes and participate in community. Physical limitations prevent activity. Pain sometimes accompanies the wondering, who am I now? The baby born in January has lived a long, full life. As December approaches, the life that expanded has become smaller and smaller. Yet the expansiveness of spirit remains, reaching out beyond the walls, beyond the body, into the lives of loved ones, and into a future we may not see with our eyes. Blessed be. This reading is called Epitaph by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
I invite you into our second responsive litany that can be found in your program. This one will be a little different because it is also in the form of a prayer for all of us, for collective healing. And so whenever you hear me say, and because of all of this, you will hear Margi say through the microphone, through this we know immortality. Through this we know immortality. Friends, will you join me in this sacred prayer? In the daily weaves of our lives, those who have died are still strong, guiding threads. Theirs is the golden glimmer, or perhaps a brilliant red, or sometimes melancholy blue. Still, they are part of the whole fabric of our lives. They are the ancestors, the goers before us. And because of all of this,
through this, we know immortality.
In the hour-to-hour rush of our daily lives, they travel with us through something they taught us that is now ours to do. Whether it is through something they loved, which is now ours to carry out, or through something we shared, which is now ours to do alone, and yet not. And because of all of this,
through this, we know immortality.
In the minute-to-minute grasp of where we are, we remember the joys of our departed that they gave us, which opened us up to hope, the sorrows we knew together, which taught us strength, and the life we shared, which is now ours to steward. And because of all of this,
through this, we know immortality.
In the second-to-second pulse of life, we sense the spirit of those we have loved and we have lost. This presence is too shy for naming, too amorphous for full knowing, and yet as real as the days that we shared. And because of all of this,
through this, we know immortality.
They are more than remembered, for they are memory itself. For what we love lives on in the way our beloved dead accompany us through this life. Their words and wisdom our guide, their humor still our relief, their restless concern for our world our collective charge. And because of all of this,
through this, we know immortality.
May it be so. often in memorial services, I like to share one of the most iconic and referenced poems from the Hebrew Scriptures that transcends beyond just Christianity. And many of you are quite familiar with it. It reminds us that in those early Scriptures, it is said that for everything, there is a season. For everything, there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born, and of course, a time to die. These are powerfully familiar words that transcend many of the religious creeds and theological traditions that still uplift them today. And they offer to all of us some of the most precious lessons on life and death, living and dying, that the ancient witness can offer to any of us in this world we share. Hear these words: for everything there is a season and a time and a matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what has been planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and indeed a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather those stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to throw away, a time to tear, a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war, but also a time for peace. For everything, there is indeed a season. And within love and loss, hope and fear, the known and the unknown of changing seasons are these remarkable lessons for all of us. And we know that reality intimately in this church. As individuals, as each of you as individuals, and as a collective congregation, we have experienced the passing of many seasons, each with not only their challenges and their grief and their loss, but also their growth and even their unabiding joy. And throughout the turning of these moments in our shared stories in this church and in the life of this congregation have been the teeniest treasures, barely noticeable, if even visible often, even to those of us who were so intimate with these losses. Now, we know that some of these gifts can occur with the rhythms of the season, and they're very easy to identify. And you heard these gifts and these rhythms echoed in Margi's reflection, as well as the ancient poetry I just read for you. Metaphorically speaking, the spring seasons bring about a life of new beginnings and fresh starts and brilliant possibilities. While those summer seasons of our life, they offer us rest and restoration and continued growth together. And of course, those seasons of autumn we share with the dazzling invitation into personal change and collective transformation, as well as those sacred moments of abundance and harvesting what it is we have sowed together. But there are also those moments and those seasons that we are too familiar with, seasons of darkness and loss, or isolation and barrenness, seasons like winter, seasons in which the gifts that are presented to us are no less than the others, the ones of growth and abundance, but they require us to look beyond appearances and perception in the moment and search for deeper meaning and significance. The world we share is often averse to the very presence of death. We often believe that a new beginning is much more preferable than a difficult and hard ending. But as the ancient words remind us, for everything there is a season, and even seasons of new beginnings which might seem preferable bring with them the promise of seasons of difficult endings, including death. And yet, even with the very painful presence of death, a universal and unifying experience we all share, thread through the losses we know in this church and beyond these seasons of darkness is powerfully good news, because, my friends, every season of difficult endings also brings with it an invitation into yet another season of a new beginning. Even those seasons of difficult endings bring with them a season of new beginnings. And that is why we are here this morning, particularly in this vigil of remembrance. Because every difficult ending, every loss and every death, including the loss of those we loved most and who knew how to love us most, is resurrected through the art of storytelling of a new beginning and a new season. And you and I in this congregation are the ones entrusted with the co-creation of this sacred and eternal rhythm, of this writing of a new beginning. One of the ways in which we too participate in this ancient rhythm of seasons and co-creating eternal life here and now and on this earth and in our time is by being the keepers of memory, of love, of those we have lost. And some of you may have heard me use those words in memorials in this cathedral of love we love so dearly. Keepers of memory. We quite literally become the new beginning of an old ending. We commit our lives to carrying on the spirit of those before us, and we commend their stories to the world that will come well after we are gone. And so as we prepare to move deeper into this vigil of remembrance, I'm going to invite you to commit this morning to being the memory keepers, to usher in seasons of new beginnings this year with even greater intention, and imagine as a community how we can further cultivate eternal life that lives here and now as we carry the memory of those that have gone before us, both in this past year and in the years that preceded it. After all, to everything and every matter there is a season, and in this moment, in this season that you and I and this church have become the entrusted ones to share, it is now on us to write the next season in the great liturgy of life. Before us is a stunning table of remembrance filled with pictures and mementos and keepsakes of those we have loved and perhaps loved us more than we could imagine. And on one end, you will find candles in a basket, little simple, non-flammable ones. And in a moment, you're going to be invited to come up and illuminate them as you wish, with your hope, with your lamentations, and of course, with your commitment to being a memory keeper for those you have loved and lost. Light as many candles, take as much time, and hold as much space as you need to. And hear these familiar words of the committal that we share with one another each time someone we love here at Fountain Street passes. Will you pray with me? To all we have loved, and to all we have lost, this morning we commit. Your lives we honor, your passing we accept, and your memories we cherish. In grief at your death, but in gratitude for your life and for the privilege of sharing life with you, we once again commit your body back into the great seasons of this earth. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, story to story, season to season, beginning to ending, and new beginning yet again. We commend your spirit to all that is eternal in this life, to help create new beginnings in your ending, and to committing our lives to do the work you have entrusted us with. May it be so. May it be so. We contain multitudes, but we don't have to contain them alone. It is good to share this space with you. The formal end of this liturgy does not mean you need to depart. Following a prayer of blessing at the end, as well as the thresholds sung blessing, Jonathan Tuuk will be offering us 4 pieces, and you are welcome to depart when it feels appropriate for you. If you need to stay until the organ has finished, that's fine. If you need to depart once we are done, that is fine as well. You are exactly where you need to be, and you know where you need to be from here. Following the service, we do have a way of connecting with the witness greater than ourselves through the return of the Art and Architecture Tour. It's a wonderful, wonderful program that's offered to our church, and they are starting their 2nd season today. And it is not lost on me that today's theme will be about the art, of course, of Fountain Street, but not just the art, but how the art comes into being in this building. Because our ancestors and the people that entrusted us with this ministry before us have a lot to do with that. And so if you are interested in that tour and in that conversation, you may gather in the tower outside. There you can go out the doors and to the left into the tower room. While you're there, spend some time with those we loved in the memorial room. You will see the plaques honoring those we loved in this community. I also want to invite you into more space with one another tomorrow evening at 7. We contain multitudes, and this election is a lot, regardless of what you're hoping the outcome will be or what you are praying for. It takes a lot from humanity to keep up with the rigor of an election season. And so we will be having a vigil for peace and hope, where we will gather and sing and pray and read and hold one another as we prepare for whatever may be this week and remember the bigger things in life. Finally, on Tuesday from 4 to 6, you're invited to go deeper with community and in celebration for democracy, working once again in the I Voted party. It's in the social hall from 4 to 6. Stop by with your voted sticker, or you can let us know that you voted in advance, as many of us do now. All are welcome for that celebration, and I am so grateful for the many friends within this church that have sponsored that to make it happen. Thank you for their generosity. So we're about to depart. And I want you to sit in the stillness of this for a moment. Feel the presence of those before us and among us and within us still. And as you are comfortable, I invite you into the shared space of prayer for this blessing. Will you please pray with me? Spirit that time cannot contain, nor space, God of the ancestors, over and across the generations. On this morning of remembrance, in the company of this beloved community, we remember the countless saints of history who have blazed a trail of courage throughout time. We remember, O God of love, the tender touch of loved ones, the example of heroes, the healing words of comforters, and the remarkable acts of fearless ones. We remember, O God of living and of dying, the gentle strength of grandparents, the immense loyalty of friends, the kindness of strangers, the joy of children, and the profound sacrifice of parents. This morning we remember, O God, of letting go and releasing the supreme love of our ancestors, the blessing of their spirits, the reminder of their words, the sharing of their suffering, and the glory of their flourishing, shown forth in the lives of each of us in this cathedral of love, in this sacred gathering that we have. young and old, dead and living, articulate and silent, strange and familiar, brilliant and ordinary. As we go forth from this place, help us to remember in every time, in every place, the saints of the divine spirit of love who have shown us the ultimate being within, among, and throughout their lives. Since we are so surrounded by so great of a cloud of witnesses and the love that is left yet to give away in their memory, let us go forth from this time of remembrance and reflection, committed to being keepers of their memory and witness to your ultimate love within, around, and among us all. May we go forth in honor. May we go forth in peace. May we go forth in love. Amen.